Jorge Linares retains his WBA lightweight world title with a 12-round split decision win over Luke Campbell. This, just like the Gilberto Ramirez and Jesse Hart fight, was a very spirited contest. Both guys fought hard, both guys fought well. Linares had the better of it early on. He managed to drop Luke Campbell in the second round with a very good right hand, very, very well picked punch. Campbell wasn't particularly hurt. It was a good clean knockdown, but I do believe Campbell was out of position at the same time as the punch connected, and he was also throwing his own shot. So a balance had a lot to do with him going down as well as the punch. If he'd been on balance, he may not have dropped from that shot at that time. But again, it was a good clean shot, definitely a knockdown. But he rose up, perfectly lucid, and because he was perfectly lucid, Linares, who's a very experienced fighter, could tell that this guy was lucid. Linares didn't really step on the gas in any great way to try and get Luke Campbell out of there. He recognized Campbell was still had all his marbles and he was capable of countering, so he didn't want to leave himself open. But it did leave Campbell with a pretty nasty cut underneath his eye from the right hand. But because it was below his eye, as I say, the blood wasn't flowing into his eye. You know, if you're going to get caught below your eye, not above it, so you can still keep your vision. In the following rounds, Campbell was able to box his way back into the fight after a shaky start. And I actually thought Campbell was doing quite well. I think he won his fair share of rounds. The judges obviously agree. And he did himself proud, to be honest with you. I'm going to do a separate video about Luke Campbell because there were some difficult circumstances for him going into this fight. And I want to give him the credit that he deserves for enduring those difficult circumstances and going through with this fight and dealing with everything so professionally. But again, I'll do that in a separate video. So, in terms of the result of the fight, Linares winning by split decision, I personally think it was fair. Campbell did land some good shots here and there. He was making it difficult for Linares to do his thing, but he wasn't, I don't think, consistent enough on the back foot to negate the clean shots that Linares was landing, because Linares was also landing clean shots throughout. You know, not a massive amount, but he was landing enough clean shots throughout, for my money, to justify him winning the fight. Luke Campbell was kind of aggrieved that he didn't get the decision. He believes he outboxed Linares for the majority of the fight, but I always say fighters themselves, when they're in a fight, they're probably in the worst position to be scoring a fight objectively, because a fighter's mindset, if you're a top fighter anyway, if you're a championship level fighter, or, you know, just a fighter who believes in yourself in general, their mindset is the glass is always half full. They have an optimistic mindset. That's how they're able to get through fights, by telling themselves, oh yeah, he hit me with a couple shots in this round, but I did this, this and this, so I won that round. You know, they tell themselves that they won rounds that they didn't even win a lot of the time. You know, unless they really get battered in a round, then somehow, some way in their minds, they're trying to stay positive, and they'll be thinking, well, maybe I shaded that round. A lot of fighters think like this, you know, which is why you find fighters, I mean, sometimes they're just doing it because they're trying to save face, but a lot of the time they're genuine. When you see fighters at the end of a fight, both put their arms up in the air as if they both believe they won it. Because in a lot of cases, they both genuinely believe they did win it, you know. So I expect that from Campbell. I expect that from many fighters afterwards to believe they actually won it. It was close enough for him to believe that he would have won it. It wouldn't have been an outrageous robbery if Campbell won the fight on the judges' scorecards by a round or two. I couldn't have argued with it. But as it was a split decision. All the scorecards were close. One judge had it 115, 112 for Linares. The other one had it 114, 113 for Linares. And the third judge had it 115, 113 for Campbell. So, you know, all relatively close. The widest there was by 3 rounds on the first judge's card, but the second judge only by 1 round. And the third judge had it for Campbell by 2. So I think that that's fair judging, fair scoring. And, there were definitely rounds open to interpretation, hence the split decision. Good performance by both men. Linares, I've said this many times before, in my view, is not a top 10 pound for pound fighter. I think that the only person who's really been saying that is Eddie Hearn. And as politicians know, over the decades and centuries, actually, repetition is very important when you want people to believe something. Even if it's a lie, just keep on repeating it and repeating it and repeating it, and eventually a certain amount of people are going to believe it. And Eddie Hearn, because he's been bringing Linares over to fight his guys for several years now, he keeps repeating this mantra that Linares is a top 10 pound for pound fighter in order to soften the blow when his fighters lose to Linares. Soften the blow in terms of the public reception. I think a lot of the casuals are, they buy into Eddie Hearn's rhetoric when he says that Linares is top 10 pound for pound. I don't believe he is. And I think if Linares does end up fighting Mikey Garcia, for example, Linares is going to get knocked out. I'm not saying Linares is rubbish, but all this pound for pound stuff, what? Because he's beating people like Kevin Mitchell and, no disrespect, Luke Campbell, these guys, that's not cause to be calling this guy pound for pound. Because why? Because he's a multi-weight world champion. Adrian Broner is a multi-weight world champion. Is he pound for pound too? We live in an age where you got 4 belts per division. You can go and pick up a belt in a couple of different divisions. It doesn't necessarily mean you face the best competition in that division. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just my view anyway. Maybe you guys disagree. Let me know what you felt about this fight. Do you agree with the scoring? Do you agree with Campbell? Do you believe he won? Or do you think that Linares actually won by a wider margin than at least 2 of the judges had it? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Luke Campbell, can he get any better? I think he can. He's 29 years old now, Luke Campbell, so he's getting on a little bit. But since he's been with his trainers in America, I've seen an improvement in him. I think he's loosened up a bit. He's still a little bit upright, but he's loosened up a bit. He's probably getting much better sparring in America than he was getting in the UK. So I think he can keep on improving and fulfill his potential, whatever that may be. Linares, we'll see what he's all about if he gets those fights with, there are loads of people out there that he'd like to fight, from Vasyl Lomachenko to Mikey Garcia to Terry Flanagan, etc. We'll see how that goes. Let me know how you feel about Linares. Am I being harsh on him? Is he better than I'm giving him credit for? And what about Campbell? How far can he go? Can he come back? Can he win a world title at some stage in his career? Let me know how you feel in the comment section. It's Hatman, I'm out.